Hey there, my name is Savannah Wynn and I am the owner of Southeast Tombstone and Cemetery Restoration. I'm at Cedar Creek Baptist Church Cemetery in Cave Spring, Georgia. This cemetery started maybe in 1837 or maybe in the 1830s. The oldest marked grave is from the 1850s, and I'm actually looking for it right now. When you're looking for the oldest stone in a cemetery, always look for ledgers like this. I call them upright ledgers. They were imported marble. Okay, I can't exactly read this, but I'm assuming that these are the oldest too. It was a Kinnard, K-I-N-A-R-D, and I think it was 1857 was the oldest one. If these were to be cleaned, you would be able to read them perfectly. They are faded a little bit, but I mean the lettering is a little bit softened, but being cleaned, they would be super legible. Now this is a marble stone. Both of them are. First off, you can tell by the grain, it's an imported marble. It's not a local marble. In the early 1800s, they did not have Tate and Georgia marble in Floyd County yet. So they imported it from out of state or out of country. A lot of it's Italian. I don't know what this is exactly. And also, being so white, obviously that's marble. The cemetery has some pretty neat big monuments. And some names that I don't see in other cemeteries in Floyd County. These are pretty cool. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you see these in a cemetery, this one was rebuilt, it looks like. Definitely rebuilt. They don't last this long, especially being there's a tree above it. If you see these in a cemetery, please do not fidget with them. Don't try to move them. Don't sit on them. Don't stand on them. Nothing. These are very fragile. Over the years, marble does warp, and it does create weak spots when it's suspended like this. There could be concrete or brick underneath in the middle, but usually they're hollow in the middle and the grave is beneath it. There's not actually a coffin. There's not actually a grave. There's no skeleton directly under it. The actual grave is well beneath, about 6 feet under this. This is just a monument. It's not a it's not like a tomb. There's another little fun fact. When you see Mason's symbols on graves and you're doing genealogy work, and if you aren't entirely sure, okay, let's say if I wanted to look this guy up, if I wanted to get some information, you can mail or email the head Masonic Lodge, and they are always more than happy to say, yeah, we had a member who was from that area. And sometimes I guess they'll know where they're buried, but probably not always. And a lot of records were destroyed from the Masons, and it's just, that's something that happens with a lot of organizations. There's fires, there's floods, you know. They're not trying to hide anything. I always hate seeing this coping destroyed like this. Coping isn't done this way anymore for a reason. Here is the reason. 2 inches thick, upright. It's not very stable and it falls. I love these kinds of monuments here. You just don't see them anymore. They went just about completely out in the late 30s. This one's in the 40s. This is a very beautiful mid-century modern looking stone. I absolutely love the layout on it. It's so simple. I will say that their eternal flame looks similar to a mustache on fire. Okay, it's weird. Anyway. There is a deep history with the cars and the Clarks here. I just did a car death date, and the oldest grave supposedly here, which I don't believe is properly marked. I don't know if they know exactly where it is. There's no picture on Find a Grave. Is a Clark from the 1830s, which I would imagine would be W.A. W is usually William in that era. William, probably Anderson. I'm just gonna call it. I'll look it up. It's probably William Anderson. Anyway, probably his sister. I love this marble over here. See if this is what I think it is. Alright. This is Tennessee pink marble. I've talked to you guys a little bit about marble. This is marble, obviously, from Tennessee. It is no longer quarried, and if you can get a recent piece, it usually has big chunks of white inclusions in it, quartz. It's not as pure and beautiful as it used to be. This marble is absolutely just outstanding. It holds up to weathering so well. It's soft like Italian marble, but it is tough stuff. It's just amazing to me. This stuff holds its inscriptions and stuff so sharp. The lines are still so crisp. I love that marble. It's just a shame that it was such a small vein and it's all been picked out. The vase is actually a Georgia pink vase. It's also no longer quarried. Can't really tell, but it's actually a very beautiful pinky salmon color. I need to look more into symbols, but this is obviously an up, I went to heaven, you know. Some people see the down, people will do a down arrow on their markers. That does not mean they went to hell. It just means that they are in the earth. It's really cool how many really large monuments are here. Hey, I've got some Watsons in my family. Interested in that. See what else we can find. Alright, so a lot of times you'll go to an old cemetery and see stuff like this. And immediately people go, oh, it was vandalized. Or they'll see broken stones. I'll show you one up here. Or knocked over stones and they're, oh, no. Okay, people. Just because it's knocked over, it does not mean it was vandalized. These things happen. There are trees, ice, freezing, etc. This is a bad repair. And I almost guarantee that before they repaired it, that probably wasn't broken. See, this is an example. I'm not saying that that was the case, but they reset the monument with silicone. But the repair, there's no repair here where it was broken. That tells me that they set it, it didn't hold, it fell, it broke. Why? They did a bad repair. Now, they tried their best. I'm not mad at them. But please, people, please, if you want to reset a monument, do not use big box store adhesives. Please, you may message me and ask me what I use. I don't care. I will tell you. I don't have secrets. Ooh, hidey hole. Okay. For the record, there is nothing in the hidey hole. I wonder if this is a plot that was bought. Somebody's vase was thrown out here. If I find where that belongs, I might use it, but it doesn't. Okay, it was pinned, so I'll look for an empty pinhole. Okay, so back to this problem. So, you see the damage, etc. Well, this cemetery, it looks to me like has a good bit of erosion. How do I know? Well, look at that. You see the base out of the ground, the sub base, the concrete, rather. Alright. This is an interesting little thing. So, in early days, I may have seen these from the 70s. I don't know how. I don't know exactly when they stopped this, but this is a funeral home marker. Where today you see funeral home markers that are in those little plastic majiggers with a plexiglass cover, and they're paper, and they're temporary. Back then they used concrete. They were not meant to be permanent markers. But fortunately for poorer families, these things hold up. It'd be nice if some of them could be updated, but you can only do what you can afford to do, you know? Oh, that's kind of cool. This is a really nice example of Georgia marble, what some would call Creole Georgia marble, because of all the gray in it. This would be absolutely outstanding if it were clean. This was hand carved. This is a turn of the century marker. Hand carved. You can see where the tooling marks are slightly. I absolutely love these. I love how they did the names of like this. More often than not, this size marker, which is I don't know, 18 inches across, would be for one person, but they made it for two. That's really pretty. These are Woodmen of the World. There's a critter behind me. Okay, at least I thought there was. Woodmen of the World monument. Woodmen. These are no longer made. You can have them ordered. You can have them made. They're expensive. They're very expensive. You see the repair? That looks like it was, I mean, it had to have been professionally done, because this thing weighs a ton. Again, you can see all the tooling marks. That's one really cool thing about this. It's Georgia marble, and I just love, you can just see where the craftsmanship is. So this here was most likely a natural inclusion, natural rift, natural cleavage, not really cleavage, natural crack. It's just a thing that happens. It's hard to detect these without when they're quarrying these, they don't test every single piece for tiny fissures. So just happened to get a piece that had a little crack in it, and over time water got in it and froze and busted. It's not vandalism. That cannot be a man-made cut. That is a natural flaw, I guess we'll say. There's no such thing as a natural flaw, but, well, anyway, it's a flaw. It's another example of a poorly put back together monument. If you're going to glue a monument back together, why do people not cut off glue? It's so ugly. But that said, I cannot tell you how much I do appreciate cemetery caretakers who try, done wrong or right, the monument is together, the pieces won't get lost. So there they are. Hey, here's a great example of wow, natural defects. Wow. I had to question myself as to if this was a Sears monument at first. This is bad. I've never seen this. Good grief. That was a pretty crappy piece of marble. Wait a minute, is this a Sears monument? Doesn't look like it. No, it's not. Okay, this is just a piece of Georgia marble that had a lot of natural cracks in it. And I'm willing to bet that this was done close to the time that Woodman marker was done. Maybe even from the same quarry. Could have just been a 1958. No, this is way after. That's impressive how many cracks are in that thing, though. I wouldn't even want to work on that one, really. If somebody came to me and said, "Can you do anything?" I'd say, "Yeah, I can have a replacement made." Unfortunately, there are very few monuments that really are losses, but if that one needed to be repaired, it just couldn't be. Alright, let's see what's interesting up front. It's going to get loud up here. More marble. Lots and lots of marble. Oh wow, that's cool. I absolutely love homemade jobs. I love it. It's a labor of love, and somebody just tried so hard to put a monument out there. I can't count how many, you know, there's no telling how many unmarked graves there are out there, and all it would take is one creative soul doing this, you know. If one person had just made a monument for the people who died, if one family member had tried to do something like this, then there wouldn't be so many. But doesn't mean I can read it though. A core, not sure. Anyway, the point is maybe it's because I'm in the industry, but I don't see any reason for unmarked graves to still be a thing. Oh, that's cool. Got a tree growing in it. Cooey. Oh, you have your second life as a tree. Cemetery is a little bit bigger than I thought. Alright, well, unless I see something that I just have to run over and yap about, hey, let's go yap about this. It's another fence. I like my fences. Well, it's a love and hate thing, me and fences like this. Can't get to them to maintain them, so this happens. They get overgrown. When they get overgrown, they get overturned by roots. This is the kind of fence I normally see from the turn of the century and from the mid 1800s and later. Super simple, iron. This one's really well made. Thanks for the air brakes. Nolan? Ah, I can't read it. JT. Looks like Nolan. Anyway, so I don't like them because they're hard to maintain. I can't get the equipment in there. You can't mow them. You have to weed eat them, etc. But I do like them because it's another labor of love the family did, I suppose. Well, I guess one thing I probably should add for any cemetery caretakers or anyone who has a family member's grave that's near the woods, do your darndest to keep all shrubbery, bushes, plants, trees well away. It doesn't take a very large bush, shrub, etc. to overturn a monument. Keep them, I mean, if it were a perfect world and it were easy, I would say 10 feet away. Another homemade job. I'm trying to determine if it's a mushroom or an arrow. I can't really... It looks like it says Beatrice, but it says Beatris, maybe? Middleton? Maybe? I'm not sure. If it were clean, I could probably read it. 1927. See a lot of unusual homemade monuments from the 20s, and I absolutely love it. It's kind of funny. I don't know if this is going to ruin anybody's view of this type of monument or not, but I call these loaf bread slices. Don't judge me. It was a very popular style right before they went to serpentine tops and etc. Especially for young people. 1886. Lily Pearl, daughter of something Morgan. It's a beautiful monument. It's a shame it's on the ground. Somebody attempted to repair it once upon a time. And, okay, so here's some more fun stuff to nag about. Do you see how this is so worn out? Ladybug. No, lady beetle. Oh, you have a big spot. Go on. Okay, you see how this is so worn out? Well, this is because people have repeatedly tried to put it back together. They've repeatedly stuck this on top for some stupid reason. They're like, oh, I think this goes here. Yes, it does. Don't try and mess with it. You're grinding down the stone, which is going to make it way harder to repair in the future. Bug in my nose. These are steel pins. They broke over time. So to repair this one, this is limestone, by the way. To repair this one, this would all, I personally would take out this base and replace it, or I would take it out and try and get this out. If I have another base sitting around the same size, I would use it and just adjust accordingly. But regardless, the bottom will have to be ground down flat and pinned into another base or onto another base. The base will have to be wider to accommodate the new bottom. See, that piece came down into a tab and now it's gone, but it can be repaired. Octavie, now that is a name. Henry and Octavie. Loaf bread marker. Oh, I bet he had a ball. Wait, what? Okay, I'm not good at joking. Never was. Well, it's absurdly loud out here, and I've mostly had my fill of the cemetery. It's pretty neat. This monument does not go with this base. However, it may be that this thing was originally twice as tall as that and it broke and they just stuck this top part into that slot. I wonder where the rest of it went. If you ever do see broken monuments, keep them together. There's some mixed information also about whether you should leave the monument on the ground face up or face down. Face up, you have weather erosion. Face down, you have acid erosion from the soil. You also have iron staining if you're in an area like me that's got iron-rich soil. So, in a perfect world, you could sit it straight up. But if you even lean it against something, then you're putting pressure on the stone like in the middle of it. So if it has any cracks, etc., it's going to break. Bumping it will cause it to fall over and break. You see that guy over there leaning? I can't count how many stones like that I've seen that are actually warped. Marble does warp, believe it or not. Crazy to think of, but it warps. If it leans long enough, or if it, like that tablet, I'm surprised it's so straight. I've seen them like that are warped. They've been sitting there so long. It's crazy to think of, a stone warping, but it happens. Alright, well, maybe I taught you something. If I did, wonderful. If you need any help, hit me up. If you don't, see you later.